ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नानाशास्त्रविचारणैकनिपुणो सद्धर्मसंस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मान्यौ शरण्याकरो राधाकृष्णपदारविन्दभजना नन्देन मत्तालिको वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालको वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you very much for coming. Welcome to episode 3 of the Nectar of Instruction series. And today we will continue the study of the second verse of the Sri Upadeshamrita by Rupa Swami. Just one second, I will just take it out. So yesterday we have covered two aspects that will spoil our devotional service. Those are atyahara and prayasa. Atyahara is eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than necessary. But later you will also find another definition of atyahara, which is collecting more knowledge than necessary. How can that be? So later Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that speculating on knowledge and reading so many books, not the authorized books, speculative knowledge. So collecting all these kinds of speculative knowledge, that also comes under atyahara. So now we will go into what is Prajalpa. So we will just, for the sake of remembrance of the verse, we will see this one. These are the 6. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamāgraha Jana-saṅgascha laulyam cha षड्भिर bhakti vinashyati. So these are 6. Atyahara, prayasa, prajalpa, Niyamāgraha, Jana-saṅga and Laulyam. So we only finished yesterday Atyahara and Prayasa. So now we will have to study Prajalpa onwards. So, I hope you can read that. That's the biggest I can go. Another impediment is Prajalpa, unnecessary talking. And by the way, if any of you have any questions, please drop a comment below and we will get back to the questions once at the end of the session. So another impediment is Prajalpa, unnecessary talking. When we mix with a few friends, we immediately begin unnecessary talking, sounding just like croaking toads. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, novels, solving crossword puzzles, and doing many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities. So what is frivolous? The English definition. Not having any serious purpose or value. That is frivolous. Carefree, superficial, this is also frivolous. Shallow, foolish, silly, flighty, irresponsible, thoughtless activities. Just scrolling on the phone. These are all frivolous things. So these are the things which come under Prajalpa. All frivolous things. Prabhu, off. So these are the things that come under Prajalpa. Now, croaking toad. So there is a verse. See, this is Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 20. बिलेबतोरु क्रम विक्रमं ये न शृण्वतः कर्णपुटे नरस्य जिह्वासति दार्दुरिके वसूत न चोपगायत्युरुगाय गाथाः. Dārdurika means frogs. One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of this personality of Godhead and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes of snakes and a tongue like the tongue of a frog. So a person who does not hear about Krishna, his ears are like the ear holes like that of snake. So the snake seemingly sometimes has ear holes, but actually the snake cannot hear. The snake cannot hear any sound. The tongue of a frog is very long, very big compared to its size, and it can stretch very far, and also it can make loud noise. But that noise only invites the snake to eat the frog. So, but how the snake would hear the croaking of the toad or the frog when the snake does not have ears? So the thing is that the snakes, they hear by the vibration in their skin. So by the vibration, they will follow that sound like that. So there was a lady. It came out in the news. I think she was one of the, these talent shows. So she was a singer, but then for some reason she went deaf. She went deaf, and then she started singing all over again to music when music is being played, and she sang she did a performance with all the musicians playing, but she cannot hear what they are playing, but she sang perfectly to the timing. So when asked how she did it, so she said that she can, and also mind you, when she is singing, she can't hear her own singing. It's so difficult to do that. So because she is deaf, and usually when people are born deaf, they are also dumb. They cannot speak because they have never heard what they don't know what sound is like. So they can't replicate those sounds. So those who are deaf are also dumb. But those who are dumb may not be always deaf. If the speech is the problem, but if the ear is not the problem, they can still hear. But usually deaf people, they can't even talk. So, but she lost her ears in her teens or something. So she was just guessing how high the pitch would be. But she learned that control to an extent that it was perfect. And she was asked, how did you sing to the beat? I mean, you can't even hear your own singing, can't hear the sound of the music. How are you even managing? She said, because she took her shoes off before the performance. And she said, I hear through my feet. The beat, the vibration. That's how I hear. That's how I know what beat is, what is being played, the rhythm I can catch. So, that's how a snake works. So, when the frog croaks, it's not like a percussion beat, but the snake's sense of hearing through the skin is so sharp that even slight vibrations in the air he can catch. So anyway, the tongue of a frog makes unnecessary, irritating noise. Not just irritating noise, it also invites the snake, which means for the frog, it's death. So our croaking, our talking nonsense is only inviting death. Whereas, if we are speaking of the Lord, one is not overtaken by death. Ayur harati vaipumsam udyanastan chayannasav tasyarte yat kshano nita yaduttama sloka vartayam. Uttama sloka vartayam. So, both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone. People take, nice beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset pictures. In photography they call it the golden hour. The 1 hour just before sunrise, when the sun is not like throwing harsh shadows, they say that's golden hour, when everything looks much better than in the midday, when everything is harsh, the light is harsh, the shadows are harsh. So for photography they prefer sunrise or sunset. So in the meanwhile, while everybody is just enjoying the sunrise and sunset, it is actually taking away the time in our life. It's just diminishing, our lifetime. So the sun is decreasing the duration of life of everyone by the rising and setting, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Now, that doesn't mean that, as long as I discuss about Krishna, I will not die. Of course, this body is meant for death. But what does actually death mean? Death means that it is the end of your activities. Whatever you have been doing, it's the end of that. That is death. But, so for a materialist, whatever he is doing in his life will be finished at the time of death. Whereas for a devotee, death doesn't impede his activity. Whatever he has been doing, if he is Krishna conscious, then the death will give him a greater benediction. He can go back to Godhead and serve him directly there. So the service, whether here or there, is the same, as long as he is purely engaged in service. So the death has no power to take away what he has been doing. That's why it is said the sun does not decrease the life of a devotee who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, because he is just going to do the same thing. That's why there is the Muni, the sage. He gave benedictions to 4 different people in 4 different ways. There is a story that this sage, he said first he met a prince. He said, Rajaputra, Chiranjeeva. Rajaputra Chiranjeeva. So you will live a long life. So he benedicted him like that. Then he went and saw a brahmachari who was, doing a lot of tapasya and, serving the guru very nicely, and in that way he was very skinny, doing a lot of tapasya. So he said, Muniputra. Muniputra means the son of a sage. So he was a brahmachari. Muniputra, Ma Jiva. You better don't live. Then he went on, he saw a devotee. So not all brahmacharis can be devotees. They may be impersonalists, they may be yogis, something like that. So that brahmachari was like that. But he was not exactly a devotee. And then he saw a devotee. Vaiṣṇava, sadhu, jivova marova. It doesn't matter whether you live or die. Then finally he saw a butcher. Ma jiva ma mara. You better don't live, better don't die. So why he benedicted them like that? So the Rajaputra Chiranjeeva means you better live a long life, because now you are enjoying, but if you die, because of all your so-called indulgence in wine, women and all this, you will have to suffer. So once the death comes, then your suffering will start. So therefore you better don't die, you live a long life. Then he went, and then why the Muniputra, you better die, you better don't live. Why? Because he is doing so much austerity that his current life is full of suffering. So but when he dies, he will get a very high destination, maybe in the one of the heavenly planets or even higher, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, So your future is very bright, but your present is very painful. So better you die, so you go there, you will reap your results of your tapasya. Whereas for the prince, your present is nice, but your future is going to be dark. So let the present live for a long time. So for you, the future, let the future live for a long time, let the present finish now. Then the devotee, jivova marova. It doesn't matter. For you live or die, it is the same thing for you. Because now you are serving Krishna, and after also you will serve Krishna after death. So there is no difference. Death has no impact on your activities. Then finally, butcher. Ma jiva ma maro. You better don't live, better don't die. Because your life already is hell with all the blood and all the meat and all the cries of the animals, all horrible, everything, the whole scene is very ghastly. It's already like hell. And after death, you will be taking the reaction of all this animal killing. You will be cut, you will be boiled, you will be everything, fried. So your present is not good, your future also is not good. Where you can go, it's not even worth living, it's not even worth existing, that kind of life, butcher. So in this way, 4 kinds of benedictions. So the point is, for the devotee, it doesn't matter, the death doesn't have any impact on his activities. Provided he is fully Krishna conscious, of course. If we are not Krishna conscious, then death is always very fearsome. And also, not only fearsome, it actually takes the effect of decreasing our duration of life, because it's going to end whatever else we are doing. But Dharmo vittam nirnam pretya. That dharma, it cannot be taken. That's stated, I think 11:26:33. In the Bhagavatam 11:26:33, Annam hi praninam prana, artanam sharanam tvaham, dharmo vittam nirnam pretya, santorvak bibhyatoranam. Just as food is the life of all creatures, just as this is Krishna speaking, just as I am the ultimate shelter for the distressed, and just as religion is the wealth of those who are passing away from this world, so my devotees are the only refuge of persons fearful of falling into a miserable condition of life. This is the point actually I wanted to stress. Religion is the wealth of those who are passing away from this world. Dharmo vittam nirnam pretya. So that cannot be taken away. We're talking about especially real religion. So, on the other hand, all these Prajalpa activities, unnecessary talking, it's like croaking of toads. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. There is a very nice verse in the Mukundamala Stotra. You see this? I will just take out. It's the 19th verse. So, this is the 19th verse of the Mukundamala Stotra. Yat Krishna pranipata dhuli dhavalam tadvarshma tadvaishiras te netre tamasojjite suruchire yabhyam harir drishyate sa buddhir vimalendu shankha dhavala ya madhavadhyayini sa jihvamritavarshini pratipadam ya stauti narayanam. You see this beautiful verse. That head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. That head is glorious, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful, which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. Te netre tamasojjite suruchire yabhyam harir drishyate. So, it's not the beautiful eyes means, like nice features. Beautiful eyes are those which have seen the Lord. That is beautiful eyes. And then, sa buddhir vimalendu shankha dhavala ya madhavadhyayini. That intelligence is spotless like the white glow of the moon or a conch shell which concentrates on Lord Madhava. That intelligence is spotless which concentrates on Madhava. And that tongue, sa jihva amritavarshini, sa jihva amritavarshini pratipadam ya stauti narayanam. And that tongue rains down nectar which constantly glorifies Lord Narayana. Amritavarshini. Mrita means what? What is Amrita? Amrita means nectar or deathless. Mrita. Mrita means death. Amrita means deathless. In other words, a person who is speaking about Narayana or Krishna, he is Amritavarshini. He is raining down deathless nectar. That means when he is chanting about Narayana, glorifying Krishna, then death cannot take its toll on him. And not only him, whoever hears, for them also. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj, he heard the whole Bhagavatam, and then he said, let that Takshaka come, whatever is bound to come, let him come and let him kill me. That curse of the Brahmana, let it happen. I am not afraid. Because he has heard from Sukadeva Goswami, and he is not afraid of death, because the death is fear. It induces fear because it ends all our plans. But the plans of a devotee, first of all, a devotee doesn't have a plan. He is a nishkama. Nishkama means he doesn't have a plan. He just executes Krishna's plan. Krishna said, you hear about me, he will just hear. There is no plan of his own. Even he may have plans like, to preach, to open temples and, all these kinds of plans in Krishna's service. But those are secondary plans. That means Krishna has already given an order. Preach. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jare dekha tarikaho Krishna upadesh. Preach. So, a devotee engages his intelligence in plan making on how to execute Krishna's plan. So, he has plans, but they are not his own plans. They are orders taken from Krishna and then using his intelligence how to execute it in the best possible way. Just like Hanuman. He was ordered to bring the, Sanjeevani herb when Lakshman was, unconscious. And he went there. He flew all the way to the North India. And, he said, he thought, I am just a monkey, I don't know what is herb, they said this is on this hill. So I do not know how to identify. But then so he picked up the whole hill and went. So although one may not know, one may not have sophisticated intelligence like Hanuman. Prabhupada said, after all, he is a monkey. So he did not have the sophisticated intelligence to understand like what is the Sanjeevani herb. He was not a doctor, he was not highly learned. A monkey after all. But his buddhi, you see how he used. He had another advantage, the strength. He lifted the whole hill and went there and let the doctors choose which is Sanjeevani and administer the cure. So, you see how the intelligence is working. So, as long as we serve Krishna to our best capacity. So, the plan, he planned his own way. He did not know how to do it. But he planned. At that time, he had to immediately make a plan of his own. So, it is a plan. But it is already the order of the Lord. So, he is executing. So, that kind of plans, yes. But otherwise, the devotee has no plans for himself. Oh, I should do this devotional service and I have to attain liberation. Yeah, this is my plan. Or I have to attain to the Vaikuntha planet and I want to serve the Lord in this way. No. Whatever. The devotee does not make plans that I want to serve the Lord in this way. Devotee means wherever the Lord puts me, whatever service He wants me to do, I will have to do. That is a devotee. Vaiṣṇava means any service, whatever, wherever. Not that I want to go to this country and preach there, or I want to do this and I only want to do this kind of service in the future. No, that kind of plan he does not understand devotional service. Devotee should be able to do anything. So the croaking of toads. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Actually, there is another verse also. Tattvam bruvana paramparastan madhuksharantiva mudavahani. But anyway, it's the same. It's also from Mukundamala Stotra. I think it's the 26th verse. But you get the idea. So now, those outside the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines and novels, solving crossword puzzles and doing many other nonsensical things. That time it was this only. Now social media, now so many more. All this is Prajalpa. So many things are going on. Unnecessary nonsense, no use for our life. So these are all nonsensical things. Not only social media, even private chats with people, they're very frivolous. Nothing serious, nothing, just wasting of time. Prabhupada shed tears when he saw the man early morning. He was practicing golf, how to put a ball into the hole. And Prabhupada was taking a morning walk and he saw this and he was shedding tears. What waste of life, just human form of life, how hard it has been to get there, to get here. And then after getting it, he's just wasting away just in putting a ball into a hole. What is the value of such a life? So a devotee is always feeling for the others, even though the other person may not feel bad about his own life. When a devotee sees anybody not engaging in Krishna's service, he feels very much sad for them. That's why the devotee is called Paradukha Dukhi. Vasudev Ghosh, he said, Vasudev Ghosh was mentioned in that Gaurarati song which we learned about a few days earlier. So Vasudev Ghosh, he was such a Vaishnav that he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if the suffering of everybody is because of their past karma, and that's why they are suffering so horribly in this universe, I cannot see them suffering like this. So you please do me a favor. You transfer all their sins, all the millions of souls in the universe, transfer all their sins to me and let me suffer. But I just can't bear to see them suffer. Let them go back to Godhead and transfer all the sins to me. So that this universe will become empty. So no need of having this universe, because it's so painful to see them suffering. So then similarly with Parikshit Maharaj, Krishna. So similarly with Parikshit Maharaj, when he was being told the hellish planets, the description of the hellish planets, same thing, he said to Sukadeva Goswami, I don't want to hear this anymore. How can they be saved? What can be done? Because even if they are going to hell, the atonement is not doing the, it's not solving the problem, because after suffering in hell, they come back and do again the same nonsense. How many lives after lives after lives? They are not changing. So what is the point in hellish punishment? And this so hard suffering. And then after that, they still don't learn the lesson, and then again they will come back to suffering. No. What is the better way to finish all this once and for all? And that's when the holy name, Sukadeva Goswami, he narrated the story of Ajamil, how Ajamil was saved by chanting the holy name, and that's how the glories of the holy name, and how it will completely Vidhyaikantika Nishkritam. Nishkritam means it will completely finish all the reactions of past deeds, whether so-called pious or impious. As we have already studied yesterday, there is no such thing as actually pious in this world. It's everything as shades of impiety. Whether this, that either less impious or more impious. But the less impious, we call it pious. So, just to encourage people to become less sinful. So it is termed as pious. But actually, anything in this material world, as long as we have turned away from Krishna, the beginning of sin, that is the beginning of sin. So when Krishna says, you surrender unto me, and aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami. Sarva papebhyo. So I will rid you of all this papa. It also means the so-called punya, which is actually only papa or sin. It is not piety. So anyway, moving on. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time. In Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish. They go for fishing. Hours and hours is sitting there. Here also I see in Singapore, near the river. Yes, sit down and waste time, complete waste of time. And then watch television. Nowadays, that is actually the biggest pastime of everybody. Watching now television is all old school. Now it's a phone. Phone. They watch their own. I don't know what is Netflix and Amazon has something. So whatever, they're watching all these things. YouTube. And then debate about useless socio-political schemes. Talk as if like big presidents of countries, and then they should do this, they should do that. This president, he talk like this is rubbish. He's like what, That's why there is a joke. There is this husband and wife. So the husband, the man, he had a friend. He has many friends because they all talk gossip like this, socio-political, as if the big things. So then this friend comes over and he asks this friend, how is it that your family is very happy, you don't have much quarreling with your wife and all that. Why, how are you managing it? Because in my family, I and my wife are like quarreling like every day. So how do you manage? Then he said, I'll teach you the trick. So I take all the big decisions, whereas she takes all the small decisions. So there is no conflict. She takes all the small decisions, I take all the big decisions. So when I decide, and she decides, she decides. So we don't cross each other's realm. Oh, then he said, wow, that's quite, that's quite doing the trick for you. I think. So what are the decisions that you take? Maybe so groceries, buying of groceries. No, that she does. Okay. So maybe you pay the bills. I think. So no, that she does. Then you maybe manage the finance, maybe the budgeting. No, that all she does. Okay. And maybe you hire the contractors or do all the home whatever renovation or this. No, that all she does. Then what are you doing? And he said, no, I discuss about what the Donald Trump must do and what Narendra Modi should do, and all those big decisions I take. So as in other words, he is doing nothing than talking about all these big politics and all these things. Because those are big decisions, right? So this fellow is sitting and just simply discussing all these big world politics, as if they are the biggest, all the UN and this and that, and he's just talking. He cannot do anything anyway. Just talking. Basically, the wife is doing everything. So this is called Prajalpa. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities. Now, Jana-saṅga, next item that should be avoided if we are desiring advancement in Krishna consciousness is Jana-saṅga. Jana-saṅga refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. This is very, very important. Especially for devotees. Many devotees who are not full-time, they are having to associate with Jana-saṅga, this worldly minded people, in work, at school, at various places. So now, this is a big challenge now. Refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees, Bhakta Sanevas. There is one nice verse from the Varaha Puran. Let me find out. I did not memorize the Sanskrit of it. Yes. So, actually this is from Varaha Puran if I am not wrong. This is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila, chapter 22, text 91. Varam huta vahajvala panjarantar vyavasthitihi na shauri chinta vimukha Jana-samvasa Vaiṣṇavas. Varam huta vahajvala panjarantar vyavasthitihi na shauri chinta vimukha Jana-samvasa Vaiṣṇavas. Actually the word to word. Varam, better, yes. Hutavaha, of fire. Jvala, in the flames. Panjaranta, in a cage. Vyavasthiti, abiding. Na, not. Shauri chinta, of Krishna consciousness or thought of Krishna. Vimukha, bereft, jana. Shauri chinta vimukha jana. Samvasa Vaiṣṇavas. Wow, this is very nice. It is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. So in fact, this is going on, this verse was quoted by Rāmānuja, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, what is the greatest hardship? The greatest hardship is to be in the association of non-devotees. It is so hard, it is so painful living with them, that it is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars, surrounded by burning flames, and even in other places, even by wild animals, and than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. If a devotee does not find it a hardship to associate with non-devotees, that means he is not sufficiently Krishna conscious. If he thinks it is pleasurable, actually it is a hardship, because by associating with them, we imbibe their ideas, their thoughts, their views of life, their understanding of life. So in this way, we are creating a material concept of life. Although we may hear, yes, we are not the body, we have soul and everything, but then when we go there, we have to associate with them, and then they will all talk frivolously, Prajalpa, this and that, and then we have to appease them, and in this way we are also dragged into that consciousness. And remember, so the Karanam Jñānasāṅgosya sadasadyoni janmasu, according to the qualities that we associate with. So if the people devoid of Krishna consciousness, they are all in the modes of passion and ignorance. So by associating with them, we are associating with the modes of passion and ignorance. And Karanam Jñānasāṅgosya sadasadyoni janmasu. So we are creating our next body in this material world again, just by associating with those people. So, and that is a hardship. To get another body, how much hardship? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. You want to go through this again? Nobody wants to go through it if given a chance, given a choice. But we are given a choice. We are given a choice. You can choose if you don't want or you want to come back here. So, it is not that, oh, I don't have a choice. No. Fate is something which we have created. They say, what is the difference between free will and fate? If there is fate, where is the scope for free will? And if there is free will, where is the scope for fate? Fate is just a result of the misuse of free will. It's like a criminal. He did some crime, and then the judge says, okay, 10 years for you. So now that is fate. When next 10 years, you can't change it, you have to be in the prison. That's fate. See, you can't change it. But you can't change it now, because you have done something in the past. If the person would have acted in a proper way, he wouldn't have been sentenced to 10 years. So the fate is created by us. As I say, man is the engineer or architect of his own destiny. It's true, but of course, the Lord has to give him the facility. Just like a criminal is a criminal, but he still requires, although he tries to flout the law and try to do all kinds of gymnastics, and he wants to be an outlaw, but when he is caught, he still needs to depend on the government for his sustenance, but in a much more stringent manner in the prison house. The prison is nothing but a department, one of the departments of the government only. So still, for his sustenance, for his punishment, for his existence in the prison, he is basically depending on the government. So the Lord takes care of all the prisoners, the outlaws here in this material world. This is a prison house. So when we are born, our sentence, just like the person when he is sentenced, 10 years, that is the beginning of his term of 10 years, which he can't change, he is just going to be there. So similarly, now we don't know how many years in this particular life. Then there is many lives. As long as we don't become Krishna conscious, we will be here. So that is fate. That's because of our previous actions. But now what I do, that is my free will. So what I do now, that will create my fate or destiny in the future. Is a is this as you sow, so shall you reap. So as you sow the seeds of activity to reap the fruit of that activity, we have to experience. So once you have sown the seed, and once the plant is starting to take shape and then the tree comes out, at that time you cannot change. Yes, but at the time of sowing the seed, then there is choice, which seed you want to sow. So that free will you have. But once you make that choice, after that you cannot change it. Provided you have, once the tree comes out and then you can't change it. The fruit has to come. Suddenly after sowing the seed of a mango, I want actually an apple. Sorry, I've already sown the seed of a mango. But actually that's what people say. Wish you a happy new year, wish you a happy birthday, wish you a happy this and that. And then everybody wished for a happy new year in 2020, right? January. What happened? What happened to the happy new year? Why is it not happy? We just wish each other happy. What is the use of wishing? I always keep telling this. What is the use of wishing each other happy this and happy that? Do something about it. If I sow the seed of a poison fruit, poison tree or whatever, and if I expect a nice mango to come out, wish each other, let's have mango together, that is foolishness. We can't wish each other whereas we do something else. The seed we have sown something and we are wishing for happiness. We have sown this. We have sown the seed of sin and expecting happiness. What is that? It's foolishness. It's absolute, brainlessness. So this wishing happy new year, that's why I don't like to wish anybody happy new year. I don't like to wish. Why? Because I want to tell them. We need to tell them that no, I'm not going to wish for you. I'm going to give you a process by which you can make this new year and the whole life happy. But you have to take to the process. There is a process. But wishing, just like a businessman, he does not wish for the profits to come and he become a billionaire. He doesn't wish. He works for it. He makes plans. He works for it hard, day and night. Nobody wishes and it happens. When anything ever happened just by wishing? No, you have to work towards it. So similarly, happiness is also something which we have to work towards. There is a process how to get that happiness. So if we just can't wish for it and do all nonsense, eating meat, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and then I wish each other happy new year, happy this and that. Where it will happen? That's why 2020 is a nice example. Everybody said happy new year, happy new year. Yeah? Now they are encaged. Here it is. You see, it is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames. Burning flames has not happened yet, but at least we are encaged by within bars. It is better like this than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. You see how coronavirus has brought about a situation now. We are all engaged. We are not associating with worldly minded people outside. Of course, you can still engage with your mobile phone and everything. But you see, it's very much minimized. And actually the earth is much more purer now. The pollution levels have gone down. The fuel intake has gone down. Carbon emissions have gone down. Industrial waste, everything has gone down. In fact, there was a video clip somebody sent me in WhatsApp. There was a Mustafa Center. There's a big, very popular shopping center here. And outside the Mustafas, some wild animals were, what is that? Otters. One whole family of otters were there on the street, right in the middle of in Singapore. They never dare to come. Humans were always, there. But when the humans are all missing, wild animals from somewhere in the forest, I don't know where they came from. So many otters there on the road. Everybody having fun time now. It seems in Africa, some lions are all on the road and everything. Elephants are all coming out in Kerala, it seems. So lockdown, and then Kerala, until now the animals were in lockdown. Now humans are in lockdown. So, this is karma, you see. And coronavirus is teaching us a very valuable lesson. It is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars. It is better to be locked down and surrounded by burning flames even, than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. For a devotee who relishes the association of devotees, for him it is painful to associate with them. It is even irritating, it's everything. But if if devotees sometimes don't understand, not strong enough to understand that association is a hardship, and they're like friendly with them, and like joking around and talking all the nonsense that they're talking. They don't understand it's a hardship, but it is a hardship because by doing that, they're sowing the seeds of future hardship. Now it doesn't look like much. So karma is like a credit card, When you spend it, you feel like a king, live life king size. And when the bill comes, then you live life in the mental hospital. Become crazy because of the tension, mentally deranged will become. So that time it will hit us very hard. So karma is like that. Now you enjoy, yes. But later, when it hits back, the karma hits back, that time it is going to be very bad. So, Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees. Bhakta Sanevas. Live in the association of devotees. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has quoted from Rāmānuja. He said, if you have any problem in life, anything that is disturbing you and you do not know how to get rid of it and you have committed offense, whatever it is, the best way to solve the problem, just go and sit in the midst of the Vaiṣṇavas. Just go and sit. Whether they speak to you, whether they don't, whether they give you, whatever it is, just go and sit with them. Your problems will be solved. If you do not know, if you are at a complete loss to understand how to solve a problem, just sit with Vaiṣṇavas. That's it. Rāmānuja has said. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has quoted that. Maybe somebody, if they can bring up the quote, that will be nice in the comment section. Maybe we can look it up later on. But that is the point. In the association of Vaiṣṇavas, it's the most peaceful place in the world. Nothing is as peaceful. But if I commit offense to Vaiṣṇavas, even the association of Vaiṣṇava, the association will become like fire. Like as if I am put in fire. If I offend the Vaiṣṇavas. Just like Durvasa Muni. He felt the fire because he offended Ambarish Maharaj. So in the association of devotees, it's the safest place. But when you offend them, that becomes fire. You cannot bear to live with them. Then you want to run away from them. So that's why Bhakta Sanevas is good. But at the same time, we have to be submissive in the presence of Vaiṣṇavas. One should always engage in the service of the Lord in the association of Lord's devotees. Not as just serving the Lord on my own. Prabhu, I am also doing Kṛṣṇa worship. Sometimes people, innocently they are doing it, but they send some pictures of their home altar, this is my Kṛṣṇa, this is my decoration, I did this, It's good. The best thing is to serve Kṛṣṇa in the association of devotees. Because that's where the real worship is, in the association of devotees. Because so many things we may do wrong. When we are alone, we can't even know what we are doing wrong. And in the association of devotees, we actually understand. And also, our mind, in the home, there is an altar, yes, and everything. But then the mind is distracted with so many things. The concentration of the mind upon Kṛṣṇa is the sum and substance of all spiritual practice. It's not about the service that we do, all that service, it is important, but the whole point of all doing every service and this and that, all kinds of engagement, is for one thing, to control our mind and fix it on Kṛṣṇa. That is the whole point. Why this elaborate deity worship? This is also, in the temple is elaborate deity worship. This is also to make us fix the mind on Kṛṣṇa. That's it. The whole point is that. But if we're doing everything and our mind is somewhere else, then the whole point is missed. So in the association of devotees, our mind, because we hear from them about Kṛṣṇa, then we engage in Kṛṣṇa's service so many ways. So in that way, this is very good. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations and clubs to enhance their endeavors. So, you understood that. So, association with those engaged in similar line of business is very conducive. That's why there are associations. Like you see, for example, in the business world, we find such institutions as the Stock Exchange and Chamber of Commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. So, there is business associations, there are different clubs, maybe soccer club, a cricket club, maybe this, like basketball, associations, like what is that? National Basketball Association, I don't know, NBA they call it. So, in this way there are so many associations for people who have a similar interest. Even in Facebook there are groups, there are interests, so people of similar interests, they can congregate in a certain way. So, same thing when applied to, but all those all those topics are Prajalpa. There are millions of kinds of association. So, there is a verse in the second canto. Sukadeva Goswami is saying that there are thousands of topics for non-devotees to talk about. Shrotavyadeni Rajendra Nirnam Santi Sahasrashah Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grihamedhinam. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in the human society, O Emperor. Many subject matter, thousands, Sahasrashah means thousands and millions of subjects to talk about. All Prajalpa. We have to avoid that association. There is another verse also similarly in the Mukundamala Stotram. So this is the 38th verse of the Mukundamala Stotra. Yes. Ascharyametadhi manushya loke sudham parityajya visham pibanti namani narayana gocharani tyaktvaanyavachah kuhakah pathanti. Kuhakah means rogues, pathanti means they recite. See, the greatest wonder in human society is this. People are so incorrigible that they reject the life-giving nectar of Lord Narayana's names and instead drink poison by speaking everything else. So many topics. Life-giving nectar is like Amrita. Sa jihva Amrita varshini pratipadam stauti Narayanam. Yes, stauti Narayanam. So, the tongue which is glorifying the Lord is raining nectar. So, though incorrigible people, they reject this life-giving nectar and instead drink the poison by speaking everything else. Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. Sudham means nectar, Amrita. Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. They drink poison. They choose to drink poison. What kind of foolish people they are? So he is saying. So there are similar such associations which promote different kinds of topics. Therefore, Prabhupada says, similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. This spiritual association offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining this society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness. Now, so therefore, we encourage everyone to join our movement and hear about Krishna. Our movement is about how to further our mind, the focus of our mind on Krishna. So that is the whole purpose of our movement. That's why devotees should not stay aloof from the movement, from the devotees, from the temple, because this association is created to further the interests of the devotees. And in the association of devotees, it becomes very pleasurable, and not only that, one becomes inspired just by seeing another devotee. Seeing another devotee, just like we read in the regarding inattentive chanting, the advice from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how to get rid of laziness or how to get rid of all our anarthas in devotional life. When we see another devotee with nice qualities and with nice service and nice chanting, nice, then we get inspired. Oh, that devotee is doing so nicely. I also want to do something like that. So we get inspired. But if you have no association of devotees, whom will we get inspired from? It is very hard to get inspired, because alone Maya will just slowly it will spiral us downwards, and then our enthusiasm, everything drops. That's how Maya works. Because the more we engage with Jana-saṅga and engage in Prajalpa, then we do Atyahara and Prayasa. Actually, Atyahara, collecting more funds and over endeavoring for material objectives, all this starts from Jana-saṅga. Every other thing, all the 6 things that are mentioned here: Atyahara, Prayasascha, Prajalpa, Niyamāgraha, Jana-saṅgascha, Laulyamcha. So in all this, the Jana-saṅga is the worst, because it is the root cause of every other thing. So when we associate with worldly minded people, they talk about how to earn money, how to become more rich, and how this scheme is better, that scheme. Then we also will want to Atyahara, accumulate more money than required. Then or they eat Atyahara, they eat anything and everything. That is also, they will invite us also for their lunch or dinner. And then there is Prayasa, to get that funding or get the money, chasing money. That is chasing wealth is the most miserable thing. So it doesn't give happiness at all. I think there's a verse also like that. Nityartidena vittena. What is that? Nityartidena vittena mrityuna. Let's go. I think 11.3.19. Wealth is a perpetual source of distress. Nityartidena vittena durlabhenatma mrityuna grihapattyapta pashubhi kapriti sadhita ischalaih. Wealth is a perpetual source of distress. The endeavor to earn it is a distressful one. Once you have it, then it's another distress to keep it and to keep it safe. Just like rich people, they have 20 bodyguards. They cannot come out properly onto the street freely. They don't have even that freedom. So, in fact, it is said by Shankaracharya, a rich man must fear his own son, because his son may kill him, or his son may swindle that money, and then he just misuse the whole money, everything. So, a rich man has to fear his own son even. So, this is the way of wealth. It is a perpetual source of distress. It is most difficult to acquire, and it is virtual death for the soul. Because in that consciousness of earning wealth, our entire spiritual life is compromised. So it is death for the soul. Therefore, what satisfaction does one actually gain from his wealth? Similarly, how can one enjoy any genuine happiness from those things that are gained or maintained by one's hard-earned money, such as home, children, relatives, and domestic animals, since they are all temporary? There is another nice verse. This is in the 8th canto, I think 8.22.9, yeah, 8.22.9, yes. Kimatmananena jahati yontatah kim rikthaharaihi svajanakhyadasyubhih kim jayayasam sriti hetu bhutaya martyasya gehaihi kimihayusho vyayah. Very nice verse. Prabhupada always used to say this many times. Svajanakhyadasyu. Svajanakhyadasyu. He always used to say this word. Whenever he referring to relatives, he will say this, Svajanakhyadasya. What is the use of the material body which automatically leaves its owner at the end of life? Kimatmananena jahati yontatah. And what is the use of all one's family members who are actually plunderers, taking away money that is useful for the service of the Lord in spiritual opulence. See? When the wife takes the money out of the pocket, out of the wallet, then the husband will say, "Oh, darling, yes, you use." Then when the thief takes the wallet, then he will call police and everything. But when the wife takes, "Darling, yes, you shop." It's the same thing. He earned it very hard, and she's taking. Actually, that wealth is supposed to be used. Like we have read that atyahara, we should not acquire more money than required. But you may ask, some people, they are blessed with more money. They are born into rich families. What they should do? They leave everything and then live in a cottage. If they can, well and good. But the main thing is this: whenever we have any extra, like extra wealth, for example, than required, what to do with that wealth? That wealth is a blessing because it can be used in the service of Krishna. If you donate that wealth to the Vaiṣṇavas who are serving Krishna, to the Krishna consciousness movement, that is a source of actually liberation. So anything extra that we have to just live by the basics. But then if we have extra on top of that, that is actually meant for serving the devotees of the Lord. And serving the devotees doesn't mean, the devotees don't want any comfort for themselves. They want to serve the Lord in a more and more opulent way, and they want to propagate the message in a more wider way. It is the donations for the temple are never enough. How can they be enough? Because how much work there is. You see how much the world is in turmoil because of lack of Krishna consciousness. And as long as even a single person is remaining without being Krishna conscious, there is work for the temple. And there are billions of people not Krishna conscious. So there is unlimited work for the temple. So the more there is opportunity, the more we can grow. Just like the Matsya Avatar. I don't know if you know the history. The Lord who came as a fish, Matsya Avatar. So he came as a very small fish in the hands of the king, and then he put in a small container like that, and next day he became too big for that container, and then he put in a bigger aquarium, and the next day he became big, so big that the aquarium cannot fit. Then he became one bigger tank, and next day it became so big that it cannot move within the tank. It's so big, and like this it became so big that it became bigger than the earth, bigger than, it's so huge in the universal waters of devastation. It was navigating the waters of devastation, and he saved the Vedas. The Lord saved the Vedas in that form. In the 8th canto there is that Matsya Avatar also is described. You can go and read that. So the point is, when you think, okay, this fish is this big, so okay, give this much of water. But it is not an ordinary fish. It is the Lord who came in the form of a fish. So a devotee is just like Prabhupada. When he went to America, nobody knew him. He had 40 rupees in his pocket. He was Krishna conscious. He was as Krishna conscious when he stepped onto the Jaladuta as he was at the time of his passing away from this physical world. He was the same Krishna conscious. But his activities increased unlimitedly in the last 12 years especially of his life. He went there, and he was somehow or other, he was given some facility by some, the hippies were there, and they rented out a place, 26 2nd Avenue, and it was a small storefront. Prabhupada was doing his business, and then when there was opportunity, then he opened more centers, more temples, and then he became worldwide. As much, if he got more money, he will increase even more. He was asking whenever he met any government official, and you give us chance to do Sankirtan, all your problems will be solved. You don't need to spend billions of dollars on crime prevention, on drug, how to prevent addiction to drugs. All this I will take care. You just give me the chance that we can openly congregate and chant the holy name and discuss the Bhagavad Gita. You just give us this chance. How did Prabhupada always showed his disciples. They were hippies, now they are happies. How? They chanted, that's all. Because these government officers, they come to Prabhupada, and because Prabhupada has done something that they could not do. Prabhupada has, governments have been spending billions of dollars to convert people into, take them out of drug abuse or something like that. But Prabhupada just did it free. He didn't spend any money. He collected money in the meantime as donations, and then he increased his temples and everything. He increased the number of people, everything. How? Because he gave Krishna. So by Harinam, by Prasadam, by this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, chanting, all the good qualities will manifest. So Prabhupada was always increasing, asking for more facility. It is never enough. Oh yeah, sometimes, the government officers also, they ask, how many people you have, in the temple? Oh, this many. Okay, so I think the place is enough for you, right? No, it is not enough. It is never enough. Because we want more and more people. Just like now, this COVID-19. The hospitals are not enough. They are making in Singapore there is an exhibition center. They made that whole exhibition center into a hospital. Into beds and everything, facilities for isolation of the COVID patients. And everywhere, all over the world, they're expanding. It's not enough. It's increasing because the patients are all in the material world. Everybody is a patient. They are all patients. Everybody is diseased. So this hospital is not enough, and it will never be enough. All the 7 billion people of the world have to be, catered for. So, like that, the Lord, is unlimited. So, all the money, any extra that we have, should be given to the service. So, when the family members take it, it was supposed to be used for service of the Lord, and then that would, liberate me from the karma bandha. But now it is being used. So, what is the use of family members who are actually plunderers, taking away money that is useful for the service of the Lord and spiritual opulence? Then the verse says, what is the use of a wife? She is only the source of increasing material conditions. Kim jayaya samsriti hetu bhutaya. Samsriti hetu. Increasing the material, world. Stri means expansion. One who expands. So the the wife, she expands the influence of one's family, and in this way increases the illusion, aham mameti. And what is the use of family, home, country and community? Attachment for them merely wastes the valuable energy of one's lifetime. It is a waste. Actually, it's a complete waste. You look at an old man and you see, what has he done the whole life? That old man is just a reflection of us, because we are doing the same thing. If you are not engaging in Krishna's service, look at an old man, what is he doing? He's just worrying about his health, he's just, getting tensed up because of some family issues. He has no idea of who he is. He's already at the fag end of his life, completely wasted his life. So, would we want to be in that position where our whole life was nothing but a waste? Then we will regret unnecessarily. So, now is the time to undo that or not go into that path. We have now the free will. Let it not become the fate when nothing else can be changed. Now it can be changed. Now we have intelligence. We can use however many years we have in this life. We have something. At least we have some sound mind and intelligence now. Not at the fag end of a life where we are in coma or where our organs have all failed. When we have no intelligence, no more, maybe we get an Alzheimer's disease and we forget everything and can't even have a proper conversation. Instead of being in that position, now when we are proper, let us use it in Krishna's service and increase our devotional life. So now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anuvritti commentary. Anuvritti commentary means the title of the commentary of his commentary on the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, that is called Anuvritti. So Anuvritti, he writes in his Anuvritti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of atyahara, collecting more than needed. This is what I am saying. Collecting more knowledge as part of, like mental speculating and dry philosophy. Reading about Krishna from authorized devotee like from Prabhupada books, that is not atyahara. You must read as much as possible. Whatever is revealed by Krishna, whatever is revealed by Prabhupada, we have to read. Prabhupada in fact scolded his disciples many times. Why are you not reading my books? I am night and day, I am spending writing these books, sacrificing my sleep, sacrificing my health. For what? For you to read. So he wanted the devotees to read completely and read again and again scrutinizingly. It's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They read, he heard the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj hundreds and hundreds of times. We have to read these books over and over and over and over again. We can never finish reading them. Prabhu, I finished Prabhu Bhagavatam. That means the person have never understood what is Bhagavatam also. Because how many other times we have read Bhagavatam, we can never fathom its depths. It is indefinitely deep. So, atyahara, too much speculating, too much collecting of knowledge from Vaiṣṇava, any Vaiṣṇava. Only Vaiṣṇava knowledge received from a proper pure devotee Vaiṣṇava like Prabhupada, that is proper knowledge. Any other knowledge acquired from dry philosophy or even Vaiṣṇavas, sometimes they even write on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, their commentary, useless, absolutely rubbish. It is rubbish. It can be thrown in the dustbin. That is not Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is when its mission is purely presented. That is Bhagavad Gita. If a Bhagavad Gita so-called, his name is Bhagavad Gita, but inside it is another opinion, that rascal has put his own opinion and covering Krishna's opinion. That is not Bhagavad Gita. And there is not even Gita. It's rubbish. It can be thrown in the dustbin straight. There's no harm in that at all. There's no offense in that. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculators to write volumes of books on dry philosophy devoid of Krishna consciousness is entirely futile. So it's a pilgrimage for crows. Nayad vachas chitra padam Hare yasho. We have already seen that verse. The rubbish literature is a place of pilgrimage for crows. The work of Karmīs who write volumes of books on economic development also falls within the category of atyahara. There are so many who teach how to earn money. That is also fall in the category of atyahara. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of atyahara. Now, scientists are trying to go to Mars, are trying to go to Moon, and all this, childish fantasies. They are trying to waste people's money and to do all these things. Now, this is all atyahara and prayasa. How much prayasa, how much over endeavoring is that? Make a huge spacecraft and go somewhere and then maybe even die in the meantime in space. There's so many dangers. But they want to, do all this because they have no understanding of what is life. I just want to see if I'm in frame. Yeah, okay. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness, so we have read this. So, possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of atyahara. Karmīs labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. That is why actually they accumulate money for future generations. They don't know what is their future position. They are, now Prabhupada will say very nicely. Yes. A very nice example Prabhupada is giving here. Interested, see, okay, we will note it again. Karmīs labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons, such foolish persons do not even know that what their position is going to be in the next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once, this is actually a historical fact. This I think happened in India only. he remembered his past life. So anyway, we will read the story. You see, once a great Karmi accumulated a vast fortune for his sons and grandsons. But later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building which in his previous life he had constructed for his children. He became now a cobbler nearby his home. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, because he remembered and he wanted to come and tell them that no, I am the same person, actually I am your father and all that, but he was a cobbler now. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. Unless the Karmīs and Jñānīs become interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities. Sometimes they say, oh, yeah, I cannot take anything with me, but I want to secure the future of my sons and grandsons so that they can beat me with shoes. I will secure the future of my sons and grandsons so that when I come back, I will be beaten with shoes, or if I become a cockroach, they will put Baygon spray on me and then kill me. So for that I will secure their future, so that my own future is compromised. So this is the point. This foolishness. We don't understand how karma is working, which is the reason why people want to accumulate more and more and more and more. Accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit, as utilitarians advocate, is called Niyamāgraha. And neglecting the rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called Niyamāgraha. Okay, now the next item, Niyamāgraha. What is utilitarians? So they are like, they make use of everything. Utilitarian. Designed to be useful or practical rather than attractive. Okay. So utilitarian means designed to be useful or practical rather than attractive. So sometimes people, they are practical, they call themselves practical people, pragmatic people. They say, you follow the scriptural rules and regulations for the immediate benefit. So sometimes they say, for example, what a good example is, okay, say Vastu, for example, Vastu. Vastu is the, geomancy. Geomancy is, the art of placement of, what is the shape of the house and, all these things. So which corner, which direction, which has to be kept and what. This is called geomancy. So anyway, so this Vastu Shastra, they use it, because, if you want wealth, if you want prosperity, then, this thing has to be kept in this part of the house and the house should be of this shape and that. This. So they use scriptural rules. Vastu Shastra, it is actually a Shastra. But actually, the whole point of the whole thing is just how to increase our Krishna consciousness. Yes, there is Shastra of how the placement is there, that is there. But the main point is Krishna consciousness. If after having all that thing, but if you have failed to come to Krishna consciousness, if you have a perfect Vastu and no Krishna consciousness, then what is the use? In fact, nowadays, some of the stupid Swamis, so-called Swamis, they're talking and they have millions of followers on social media. They are saying, one of them, not only a few of them, but one of the popular guys. So he was saying that a temple is a place where there is energy. There is some energy. You revitalize yourself, you recharge yourself when you go there. So that's why you have to go to a temple. The worship of the Lord and how to become a devotee of the Lord, that is not mentioned. Krishna, when he said manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru, none of those four things are advocated by these people. Manmana means always think of me. Bhava mad bhakta, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. And mam namaskuru, pay obeisances to me. These rascals, they will never say any of these four. They will never advocate for the submission to Krishna. But they say, temple is a place where you recharge because there is some energy there. So that you feel more energized and so that you can do what you are doing with more positivity. All this rubbish positivity, they use the word positivity in everything. Where is positivity? Positive means you do something Krishna conscious. Otherwise, it's all negative only. So, this is not a place where where one comes and receives some inspiration to do his idea. Some people, they say like, oh, I got an epiphany. I got this. This epiphany means like a sudden awakening that I was sitting in the temple and then I suddenly have this awakening of a business model, an idea or a service that I want to provide to the world. I think this is my calling. I think God has put me into this world to do this for the people. We all have a reason why we are here. We have to do something, so you have to find your own calling. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. We are all put here only just for one single reason, and that is to become Krishna conscious. That's all. We are not sent here by Krishna to help people with opening schools and opening hospitals or opening doing this. No, not at all. We are put here because we have been rascals. We have completely disobeyed Him. So now we are put here for our own rectification. Make our life successful by following the instructions of Krishna. That's all. Don't imagine anything else. Nothing else is the goal of our work in this material world. So these people, they accept, okay, temple good and everything good, but it is for my own. It is not about Krishna, getting devoted to Him. No, that is not the aim. See, they follow some rules and regulations like that, inferior rules, but they forget the real rule. Smartavya satatam Vishnur, Vismartavyo na jato chit, Sarva Veda Nishedhasyur, Sarva Vidhi Nishedhasyur, Etayor eva kankara. All the rules and regulations of the Vedas are just meant to serve the two principles. One is always remember Krishna, second one is don't ever forget Him. That is the real rules. Everything else is supposed to serve those two rules. But if we are doing all these two rules, but we have forgotten these two rules, if we are doing all these rules and forgotten these two rules, we have missed the whole point. So that is called Niyamāgraha. So the word Niyamāgraha can be two ways, Niyamāgraha and Niyamāgraha. Both will become Niyamāgraha when joined together. The word becomes Niyamāgraha, Sandhi, joining of the two words. So Niyamāgraha, Niyamāgraha. So Niyama means rules. Agraha means too much acceptance of rules to the point that we forget the aim of following those rules. That is Niyamāgraha. Or the Niyamāgraha means not even accepting the rules necessary for achieving our aim. That means, suppose in our society we have to chant 16 rounds every day and we have to follow the 4 principles. But if I am not serious in following them, that means I am not even accepting those rules which I have to accept for advancement. If I am neglectful of those rules, that is Niyamāgraha, not following enough rules. Or sometimes it is the other way around, following all rules except the real thing, the remembrance of Krishna. So this is Niyamāgraha. Accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit, as utilitarians advocate, is called Niyamāgraha, and neglecting the rules and regulations of Shastras which are meant for spiritual development is called Niyamāgraha. The word Agraha means eagerness to accept, and Agraha means failure to accept. By the addition of either of these two words to the word Niyama, rules and regulations, the word Niyamāgraha is formed. Thus, Niyamāgraha has a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement, yet they should very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regulative principles by avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling and intoxication. This one we have to follow. But in the Vedas there are other rules also. Those are not as necessary to follow as these things. One should also avoid association with Mayavadis, who simply blaspheme Vaiṣṇavas, devotees. See, one should also avoid association with Mayavadis. Mayavadis means who? Whoever is an impersonalist, who does not say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We cannot associate with them. Associating does not mean only say hello, how are you, physical, reading their books, watching their videos, or anything to do with them, we cannot. It will spoil our devotion. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavad bhashya sunile hoy sarvanash. मायावादी भाष्य. जीवेर निस्तार लागी सूत्र कोयल व्यास, मायावादी भाष्य सुनिले होय सर्वनाश. मध्य लीला चैतन्य चरितामृतम chapter 6 text 169. Srila Vyasadeva presented the Vedanta philosophy for the deliverance of conditioned souls, but if one hears the commentary of Shankaracharya, everything is spoiled. This Mayavad Bhashya, Shankaracharya has advocated this. Everything is spoiled. Sarvanash. So we cannot associate with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme Vaiṣṇavas. You may say, oh, Prabhu, they never talked anything bad about the Vaiṣṇavas, they're just promoting their own philosophy. That by itself is blaspheming the Vaiṣṇavas. Because Vaiṣṇavas stand for Kṛṣṇa as a person, and by just speaking about him in an impersonal way, they are blaspheming the Vaiṣṇavas. They blaspheme them, and they blaspheme the Lord also. They advocate this, impersonalistic philosophy, as if that is the highest. So they are always blasphemers of Vaiṣṇavas, although they may not even explicitly say it. But just by doing their nonsense, they are blaspheming Kṛṣṇa and the Vaiṣṇavas. Bhuktikamis, who are interested in material happiness, Muktikamis, who desire liberation by merging in the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and Siddhikamis, who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice, are classified as Atyaharis. See, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is extending the definition of Atyahara. Not just eating more than necessary and collecting more funds, but Bhuktikami, Muktikami, Siddhikami. Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhikami, Sakaliya Shanta, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta. Where is this word coming from? Bhuktikami, Muktikami, Siddhikami. This is coming from this Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. So, Madhya Lila, 19th chapter, 149th verse. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta, Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakaliya Shanta. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. He is peaceful. Fruitive workers desire material enjoyment, Bhuktikami. Jñānīs desire liberation, Muktikami, and yogis desire material opulence, Siddhikami. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. And for achieving their ends, they will go to great lengths of prayasa or endeavor. Read so many books, or do so much endeavor to earn money, or practice very, very severe austerity to get their yoga siddhis. All of them are Atyaharis and also engaged in prayasa, over endeavoring for material objectives. So therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, we cannot associate with any of them. We only associate with devotees who are actually doing the real thing. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable. So Bhuktikamis who are interested in material happiness, Muktikamis who desire liberation by merging in the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and Siddhikamis who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice are classified as Atyaharis. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable. Desires to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging in the existence of Brahman, or attaining whimsical material prosperity are all included within the category of greed. To have such desires to, become a big yogi, become a big jnani, become a big what is that, businessman or anybody, wealthy person in this world, are all greed. Laulyam is the next item, which is greed. Greed is greedy for mundane objectives. All these are mundane. Not just greedy means, going after wealth. The Jñānī is not greedy because he's renounced, he's concentrating on Brahman and his dry philosophy without Krishna bhakti. He is also a greedy man because he wants to become one with the Lord, whereas the ordinary materialist, he wants to be a big man in this world. Whereas the Jnānī wants to become so big that he wants to become one with the Lord. I also, they say, all these impersonalists, they say that once we are liberated, we also become one with that Advaita, that Brahman. We also become Brahman. They say, Aham Brahmasmi. I also become one with the Supreme Truth. Rubbish. We will never become the Supreme Truth. Becoming one with the Supreme Truth means becoming one in quality, not in quantity. Aham Brahmasmi, but I am Aham na Parabrahmasmi, not Aham Parabrahmasmi. That's why there are two words, Brahma and Parabrahma. Why? Yes, Aham Brahmasmi means I am spirit soul. I am not this body. That's all. Aham Brahmasmi. It's not that you are actually the Parabrahma. No, Parabrahma is Krishna. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Arjuna is saying. So that's why they are greedy, these Jñānīs. Because they want to not just be a big man in this world, which the materialists want. So the Jñānīs, they look like more renunciants, more aloof from the world and not greedy, but they are more greedy than the Karmīs, because they want to become one with the Lord. They want to become Aham Parabrahmasmi. They won't say it because they don't have the idea of a distinction between Brahma and Parabrahma. They say Aham Brahmasmi. They say the ultimate, which people call as God, is actually Brahma, and I will also become Brahma when I liberate. So they want to become one with the Lord. They want to become bigger than anyone else. So that is greed. And the yogis, they are also want to become big yogis, master of yoga. They want to control many things. In yoga, Siddhi, there is Ishita, Vasita, Prakamya, there is Kamavasayita. So many, let's see, the 8 Ashtasiddhis, the 8 kinds of perfections of yoga. You see, this is 11, 15, 4 and 5. 11 canto, 15 chapter, 4 and 5. All the 8 primary mystic perfections are mentioned here. We'll just read the English. Among the 8 primary mystic perfections, the 3 by which one transforms one's own body are Anima, becoming smaller than the smallest, Mahima, becoming greater than the greatest, and Laghima, becoming lighter than the lightest. In these 3 ways, they can change their own body. They can switch their body, they can become whatever they want. Through the perfection of Prapti, there is the next, Prapti. One acquires whatever one desires. And through Prakamya Siddhi, one experiences any enjoyable object, either in this world or the next. Through Ishita Siddhi, one can manipulate the subpotencies of Maya, and through the controlling potency of Vasa. So what is the subpotencies of Maya? Like for example, Vishwamitra, he created a planet. He created a planet of his own. How is that possible? So this is manipulating the subpotencies of Maya. So Maya, the nature's laws are there, but by Yoga Siddhi we can manipulate that and make it their own way. So this is called Ishita Siddhi. Prakamya means one can experience any enjoyable object, either in this world or the next. The yogis, they can touch the moon with their finger. They can actually do that. So these are uncommon. You can never hear of these things, but they can do it. They can also travel on sunlight. They can take advantage of the sunlight, the rays of the sun, and they become so light, the Laghima Siddhi, becoming lighter than the lightest. They travel using the sun's rays and they go to other planets using that. So these things are unknown to modern man, these ways of travel. And some people, they travel using their own mind. Like Prabhupada said, there are yogis now also, even in Himalayas, where they are sitting in one cave and they do Chardham Yatra within 1 hour and bathe in all the holy places and come back and sit in their cave again in Himalayas. That means they bathe in Badrinath, and then they go down to Jagannath Puri and bathe there, and then they go to Rameshwaram, which is, I don't know if you know the geographical locations of all these places. Badrinath is right at the north of India and near the Himalayan region, and then in the Himalayas, and then the Jagannath Puri is on the east coast of India, and then the Rameshwaram is way at the south, at the southern tip of India, and Dwarka is at the western. So the east, north, east, west, south, everything they cover. Char Dham, 4 holy place. Char means 4, Dham means holy place. So these 4 places of pilgrimage, they travel in 1 hour, take bath there and come back and sit there in their cave, and their hair is all wet from that bath. So the yogis can do that. So you see how intoxicating. Who doesn't want this kind of powers? It's like a Superman, better than the Spider-Man and all these things, who can just like this fly and what they are doing, not even true. It's just fantasy. But these yogis are actually moving much faster than so-called Spider-Man and all this. Ishita, one can manipulate the subpotencies of Maya. Like Kardama Muni, he created an airplane which can travel all over the universe. And he took his wife, and not just airplane means sit down, seat belt. No seat belt. Full palaces in the plane, full of palaces, gardens, maidservants, nice waterfalls, garden. Everything was so nice within the plane, and the plane was moving to all the planets of the universe. They are not just sightseeing on this planet. People like to travel from one country to another. No, they were traveling from one planet to another, going to different gardens and enjoying themselves. Kardamani and Devahuti. So this is manipulating the subpotencies of Maya. They can create things, wonderful things. And even we have Kripi, they were born, So they used to put the semen in the ghee, in a pot of ghee, and that used to become the womb, and then from there the baby used to come out. How all these things are done? So these things are manipulating the subpotencies of Maya. And sometimes we have examples in Puranas where the sage gives some sweet rice or something, kheer, and then they takes, and then a king who did not have a son, he will get a son after that. So in this way, how this happens? How the sage has power to do that? Because he can manipulate. They were all actually perfect mystics at the time. They can manipulate the subpotencies of man. So in this kheer, he can invest so much power that such and such soul will come and take birth in this family. So they can do so many wonderful things. So yogi means not just some exercising, stretching the leg, putting the leg over the head, and then the head underneath. This is not yoga. Real yoga means to come to that stage of yoga siddhis. Then through the controlling potency called Vashita Siddhi, one is unimpeded by the 3 modes of nature. By Vashita Siddhi, one is unimpeded by the 3 modes of nature. He can do anything he likes. One who has acquired Kāmāvasāyita Siddhi can obtain anything from anywhere to the highest possible limit. Prabhupada said there was a yogi that his father's friend saw. He was in India, so he was a great yogi. He was perfect in this Kāmāvasāyita Siddhi. And then that man, he asked him, "No, I want the pomegranates from Afghanistan. Can you bring?" Then he just closed his eyes and then said, "Okay, go to the next room. The pomegranates are there from Afghanistan." And he was in India. Then he did not, what? Then he just went to the other room. Fresh leaves, branch broken like this with all the pomegranates there, and it was from Afghanistan. Just like that. So this is Kāmāvasāyita Siddhi. Anybody would want this kind of siddhis, right? But Siddhikami is Ashanta. He is actually not peaceful. As long as we desire material perfection, material happiness, we will never be peaceful. We think only, just like a poor man, he thinks the wealthy man, oh, he has so much wealth, what problem can he have? Everything is within his. No, you go and see the rich people, whether they have problems or not. So many problems they have. You can't imagine the problems that they have. So everybody has problems. My dear gentle Uddhava, these 8 mystic perfections are considered to be naturally existing and unexcelled within this world. So these things are there. If one can actually become yogi, just like by Vyasadev's mercy, Sanjaya could see the whole battlefield when he was sitting with Dhritarashtra, a blind man, and he was narrating the whole battlefield incidents. The whole Bhagavad Gita is like that. He is just narrating what he was seeing. So how did he see? What is that? That is a mystic siddhi. He can see whatever he wants, like a television inside his heart. There is no need of antenna and this, all nothing, no satellite, nothing. It's done by mystic yoga. So, although as wonderful as all this sounds, this comes under the category of greed. Because in the end, this is not going to solve your problem of birth, death, old age and disease. We should never lose track of the real problems. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. One who sees this, that the miseries of birth, death, old age and disease cannot be counteracted by all these achievements, he is the real dhira, he is the real knowledgeable man. So if we get distracted by all these wonderful, so-called wonderful exhibitions of Maya, glittering distractions of Maya, then that is called Laulya, greed, and that will spoil our devotional service. In fact, it is said a real devotee, as he is advancing in devotional service, when he is almost perfect, then he will be awarded these 8 mystic perfections. And only if he is disinterested in them, completely unattracted to them, then he will be given the pure devotional service to Krishna. Krishna will put all kinds of tests. The biggest test will be when this devotee will be given this chance of having all the 8 mystic perfections, and only when he is completely uninterested in any of them, even though he has them, then he is awarded the pure devotional service. Because Maya wants to distract him in many ways. If not by just ordinary woman, then by mystic yoga power, if he is so advanced. At that stage also there is still attraction from Maya. So Maya will not leave us so easily. The modern warfare waged between capitalists and communists is due to their avoiding the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami regarding Atyahara. This is the reason why there is war. Because everybody wants to achieve more, gain more and more and more, and then there is war. Oh no, I want. Why you have to unnecessarily occupy the another land? No, Atyahara. You don't need that. Let him live, you live yourself. But no, simply Atyahara. And also not only land, trade, oil or anything. It's all people just want to hoard. This hoarding thing, Atyahara, is causing all the world's warfare. Modern capitalists accumulate more wealth than necessary, and the communists, envious of their prosperity, want to nationalize all wealth and property. Unfortunately, the communists do not know how to solve the problem of wealth and its distribution. Consequently, when the wealth of the capitalists falls into the hands of the communists, no solution results. Opposed to these two philosophies, the Krishna conscious ideology states that all wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to the economic problem of mankind. The United Nations will completely fail because they have not taken this policy of Srila Rupa Goswami. If the United Nations takes the formula of Srila Rupa Goswami of this avoiding Atyahara, yes, peace will be there. But as we know, there is no devotee who is actually managing the affairs of the world. So therefore, we can expect all kinds of troubles. Just like yesterday, some gentleman has commented on this video on our live stream that he pointed to me. He said, this man who is speaking here, he can solve the problems of the world. Not those leaders. Of course, I am nobody. I am completely incapable. But the thing is, he said a good point that all these leaders, engineers and all these people, they can't actually solve the problem. It's the devotees who can actually solve the problem, because you need to know actually how things work, how nature is working, how God is working behind all these manifestations of nature. And when you connect with what God wants, then you administer the world according to His orders. Perfect peace will result. Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, they were so pure devotees. And Rāmāraj, what is the meaning of Rāmārajya? The kingdom of Lord Ram. The kingdom of Lord Ram was so great that people only died when they wanted to. They never faced excessive heat, excessive cold, nothing. Because of the perfect rulership of the king, Lord Ram. They even did not die. If they did not want to die, they did not die. It all depends on how the ruler actually rules the country. So, opposed to these two philosophies, the Krishna conscious ideology states that all wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to the economic problem of mankind. Nothing can be solved by placing wealth in the hands of the communists or the capitalists. If a $100 bill is lying on the street, someone may pick it up and put it in his pocket. Such a man is not honest. Another man may see the money and decide to let it remain there, thinking that he should not touch another's property. Although the second man does not steal the money for his own purposes, he is unaware of its proper use. The third man who sees the $100 bill may pick it up, find the man who lost it and deliver it to him. This man does not steal the money to spend for himself, nor does he neglect it and let it lie in the street. By taking it and delivering it to the man who has lost it, this man is both honest and wise. Simply transferring wealth from capitalists to communists cannot solve the problem of modern politics. For it has been demonstrated that when a communist gets money, he uses it for his own sense gratification. The wealth of the world actually belongs to Krishna, and every living entity, man and animal, has the birthright to use God's property for his maintenance. When one takes more than his maintenance requires, be he a capitalist or a communist, he is a thief, and as such he is liable to be punished by the laws of nature. Stena eva sauchyate. The wealth of the world should be used for the welfare of all living entities, for that is the plan of Mother Nature. Everyone has the right to live by utilizing the wealth of the Lord. When people learn the art of scientifically utilizing the Lord's property, they will no longer encroach upon one another's rights. When people learn the art of scientifically utilizing the Lord's property, not scientifically means the modern science, this science which is described here in the Upadeshamrita, this science, this spiritual science of avoiding atyahara. Īśāvāsya sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma Gṛhastha kasya svidhanam. This is Īśāvāsya, first verse of the Īśāvāsya. So what is that? Just look at the verse. See, Īśāvāsya mantra 1. Īśāvāsya sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma Gṛhastha kasya svidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate within this world, within this universe, is controlled and owned by the Lord. Everything, animate or inanimate, that means moving or non-moving, is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong. They belong to Krishna. So in this way, one has to live. And it is said in the next verse that if one lives like this, then kurvanneveha karmāni jijivishe chatam samah evam tvainanya tetostim nakarma lipyate nare. It is said, if we live like that, then we can live for thousands of years. There is no problem in living like that. Kurvanneveha, see, this is the verse. So we will see, one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way. That means accepting everything in, Krishna's property and just living, just taking one's own quota and not encroaching upon other people's property. So one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. So again, this is against the principle of atyahara. Then an ideal society can be formed. If when people learn the art of scientifically utilizing the Lord's property, they will no longer encroach upon one another's rights. Then an ideal society can be formed. The basic principle for such a spiritual society is stated in the first mantra of the Īśāvāsya, which you have just read already. Krishna conscious devotees know very well that this material world is designed by the complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the necessities of life for all living beings. Material world is designed by the complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the necessities of life for all living beings without their having to encroach upon the life or rights of one another. This complete arrangement affords the proper quota of wealth for everyone according to his real needs, and thus everyone may live peacefully according to the principle of plain living and high thinking. Unfortunately, materialists who have neither faith in the plan of God nor any aspiration for higher spiritual development misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment their material possessions. It's so true. They misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment their material possessions instead of using it for Krishna consciousness. They devise many systems such as capitalism and materialistic communism to advance their material position. They are not interested in the laws of God or in a higher goal. Always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification, they are conspicuous by their ability to exploit their fellow living beings. When human society gives up these elementary faults enumerated by Srila Rupa Goswami, Atyahara, etc., all enmity will cease between men and animals, capitalists and communists, and so forth. In addition, all problems of economic or political maladjustment and instability will be solved. This pure consciousness is awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice offered scientifically by the Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, as the gentleman has said yesterday, it is true that only a devotee, that's why our whole process in this movement is, if people become devotees, if the whole world leaders, everybody becomes devotees, then the problems can be solved. Otherwise, they cannot be solved. These principles of Upadeshamrita has to be, broadcasted, and not only that, must be implemented. It's not just it's good for devotees, in their own spiritual lives, but also it has applications at all levels. All levels. This Krishna consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above mentioned 6 hindrances to devotional service, and by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement. So in other words, as a devotee, we should avoid these things. And also, we have to preach these signs all over the world. That it's not just, this is, it's good for devotees, we have to avoid. But then we have to preach that this avoidance will also solve all the problems of the world, like how Prabhupada is mentioning, you see. Any instruction is applicable at all levels. So that's why a devotee, a real preacher like Prabhupada, he preaches that not only for the small community of devotees that are presently hearing this lecture or something. No. For all people, for all time, these instructions are so necessary. Krishna is speaking for everyone. Rupa Goswami, Lokanam hitakarnao tribhuvane manyao sharanyakaro. The 6 Goswamis, they have given up their so-called material positions as big government officers and this and that, and they have taken to the writing of these literatures for the Lokanam hitakarnao, for the whole world's benefit. These books are written by these 6 Goswamis. So this book is, complete advice for everybody, not only devotees but everybody, but especially for devotees. Devotees must take this very, very seriously. So we have come to the end of the session. So if you have any questions, we will go through them now. So Rekha, she's asking, where is this Mandir in Singapore? I would like to join. So we are situated at Lorong 29, Geylang, hash 03-02, postal code 388065. So you can come here, but presently everything is locked down. So after this whole COVID pandemic has passed, you're always welcome, and at this point we can associate with us through these online classes at the moment. Regarding Sri Rāmānuja saying about sitting with the Vaiṣṇavas, Vishwambar Prabhu has presented. So this is presented in the Sajjana Toshani by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The Sri Rāmānujacharya's foremost instruction is this: if you cannot purify yourself by any endeavor whatsoever, then sit with the Vaiṣṇavas and you will achieve all auspiciousness. How beautiful, you see. If you cannot purify yourself by any endeavor whatsoever, then sit with the Vaiṣṇavas and you will achieve all auspiciousness. If our mind is somehow or other, just completely chaotic, just sit with the Vaiṣṇavas. Auspiciousness will be there. So, Ajanya Mataji, Bhaktin Ajanya. If one man have not enough courage to avoid sex and giving birth to children, is he responsible for taking care of his wife and children? If one person needs to enjoy sex life and after getting children, if he leaves his family and joining for service of Krishna without giving proper care and protection for the wife and little children, is it right? Which way is more good for a man? Completely avoiding sex life or becoming Gṛhastha and then leaving his family and going for Krishna's service? Which is best way? Who is more intelligent, one who remains in brahmacharya life or entering into Gṛhastha life? Well, it's not completely related to the topic, but anyway we will answer it. So, in any way, by any means, if one surrenders to Krishna, it is always glorious, either way. Whether one has remained a brahmachari and joined, or one has become a Gṛhastha and then left it, either way. But of course, as a Gṛhastha, he is expected to fulfill everything. But it is not that. Actually, Prabhupada says one thing. In a lecture recently I was hearing, I think it's Bhagavatam 1st Canto 9th chapter, somewhere, one of the verses. So, Prabhupada said, one has to leave, Panchashordhvam Vanam Vrajet. After 50 years old, one has to start seriously contemplating leaving the place, leaving the house. And then he said, there may be duties in the household life that haven't been finished. Prabhupada says it doesn't matter whether they're finished or not. One has to leave. Because honestly, it will never be finished. Even the so-called finished, they will again have another thing. It will never finish. They will just present one or the other problem. It will always be there. So, Panchashordham Manam Vrajet. At the age of 50, one must start to leave. One must think of leaving. Because this Graham is never going to be, it's Andhakupam, it's never going to finish. Very hard to come out of it. Even when Prabhupada was in household life and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was coming into his dream and pulling him by the ear, come out, take sannyas. So Prabhupada was saying that, I was thinking, how can I leave my family and everything? But, he left his family and then, not everything was alright. In fact, one of his daughters did not get married yet and all these things were there. But he just left. So, of course, they were grown up at least. So, that should be the general rule, that one has to take charge. That is the vow of marriage. One has to take charge. Because not everyone is as advanced as, say, Sridhar Swami. I will tell the example of Sridhar Swami in a while. I think many of you already know. He's actually from Orissa. We have seen his samadhi also in near Kshirchor Gopinath, that Mandir. His samadhi is also there. So he was a great devotee. His was the first commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So his example is quite unique, but generally speaking, the husband should take charge of wife, and then eventually when they're grown up, then he has to leave them. But Sridhar Swami, what happened, he wanted to be a brahmachari his life. He did not want to come into Gṛhastha ashram. But his parents, forced it upon him, then he became a Gṛhastha. Then he thought, okay, after marrying, I will leave. I will become sannyas. Then there is, then his wife asked, no, we should have children, Then okay, then the wife became pregnant. Okay, then he thought, let the child be born, then I will leave and take sannyas. And the child was born, but his wife died. So he was left with a child in his hands, and he was sitting under this tree and he was lamenting, what happened to my life? What plan I had, and now I am left with this child without even my wife, and I have to take care of raise this child, and my whole plan of surrendering to Krishna is gone. Then the lizard, one lizard fell from the tree. One baby lizard, just born, very small. And he found an insect and he ate the insect. He gobbled the insect up and then he rushed into the bushes. Then he saw that, and okay, the Lord is providing for everybody. So he left the child. He put the child there and then left and took sannyas. Somebody must have raised the child, of course. That was not his concern anymore. The thing is this, when one has surrendered to Krishna, he is not indebted to anyone if he has wholeheartedly actually surrendered. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a perfect example. He married at the age of 24. His wife was 16. But few months after marriage, he took sannyas. Now, can you say he is irresponsible? No, he is not. So, it may look like that. So, therefore, these things cannot be understood by materialists. For them, family life is everything. So, when you present this sannyas idea, they will all become, very restless, agitated. This is irresponsible, this is nonsense. No, it's not irresponsible. When one has taken the shelter of the Lord like that, he is not indebted to anyone. Whether he has just taken Gṛhastha and then taken sannyas, or whether he is brahmachari and all the way sannyas, if he has dedicated his service to himself to the Lord, that's it. That's all that matters. But, so this is the verse. Devarshi bhutapta nirnam pitrinam naking karonayam ranicharajan sarvatmanaya sharanam saranyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered unto the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Having said, how many people are actually in that level that they have completely surrendered to the Lord? Rare. It is very rare that these examples are there, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sridhar Swami. These are very rare examples. It's not ordinarily possible. So usually for ordinary people, it's take responsibility. Sometimes Prabhupada's disciples, sometimes they accepted Gṛhastha ashram and then they wanted to change. They wanted to become sannyas immediately, and then they didn't want to take care of the wife and everything. So Prabhupada said, no, you must take care of your wife for the rest of your life, and then take sannyas later on. And now your duty is to take care of your wife. Why? Because he knows that these people are asking for sannyas not because of their unflinching devotion to Krishna yet. They are just having some argument with the wife, and it is common that whenever a man argues with his wife, he will think of sannyas at that time. So in that moment he will think of sannyas. But then Prabhupada knew that even if he leaves his wife and so-called takes sannyas, he may get involved with another woman because that lust has not completely gone. That intense attachment, just like another good example is Raghunath Das Goswami. He married, and his wife was very, very beautiful, and he was son of a very, very rich man. He was like multi-billionaire, Raghunath Das Goswami. He just ran away from the house. And then, the mother was, crying and, complaining to the husband, chastising the husband. That means Raghunath Das's mother was shouting at her husband, that means his father. Why didn't you chain him up, in the house, Why did you let him go without any chains? Now you see, because Raghunath Das Goswami always was thinking about running away from the house. So he ran away many times, and Raghunath Das Goswami's father, Hiranya Majumdar, So he always used to keep guards, bodyguards, a dozen of them, not to save himself from thieves or rogues, but to save his son from running away. So that was the duty of those guards. So whenever the son runs away, they will all go after him and catch him and come back, bring him back. So in this way, then they thought, okay, if he gets married, then he will get attracted to the wife and everything, and then he will be okay. He got him married, but he slept in the veranda and his wife slept inside. He did not want to sleep with her also. And then he was sleeping outside like that, always thinking, when I can leave, when I can leave, when I can leave. And finally, after getting the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, it's a long story, but I just want to cut short. So one day he ran, and he never came back. And the wife was shouting at the husband, his mother was shouting at his father, why didn't you chain him up, why didn't you chain him up? Then the father said, what can be a greater chain than a beautiful wife? Because of wife, everybody is stuck to this world. She is the biggest chain. She is the most beautiful girl we have gotten for him. But if he has run away, what ordinary chains can do? Let him go. What can we do? His life is meant for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What can we do? So then after that, it became a different story. Then he sent his men, to see where he was, and finally they found out that he was in Jagannath Puri. Then he tried to give him money so that he can serve the Vaiṣṇavas there, and like in this way. And then slowly, Raghunath Das Goswami first he accepted the money, and then with that he arranged big prasadam feasts for all Vaiṣṇavas, Vaishnava Bhojan. And then after some time he thought, why should I take money from them, from my father anymore? I've taken, I've renounced the family life. Then he stopped taking money, and then he was standing outside Jagannath temple just begging. The rice that was washed, and after the pots are washed, that rice he used to collect. That rice he used to collect and eat that only. And he used to stand outside the Jagannath temple and beg. And then he thought, why am I standing here like a prostitute? Prostitute also waits for a man, who is coming, who will offer me money and I can offer him sex. So I am like a prostitute who will give me money, for my maintenance. No, I think then he gave up that also. So in this way he increased his renunciation so much. So the point is this, he ran away from his wife after Gṛhastha. But that level of attraction for Krishna that he had, it's not ordinary. Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoibe Akuti. Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami, they are Nitya Siddhas. They are coming from spiritual world. So Sridhar Swami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these are very extraordinary examples. So but if one does in that earnestness, there is nothing wrong. But usually, the vast majority, 99.99% of the people, they can't do it in that way. So they better go through the whole thing and then take sannyas. Taking sannyas is not that Gṛhastha means there is no more sannyas. No, Gṛhastha means after that there is sannyas also. So one has to always aspire when I can ultimately give up all this attachment and serve the Lord without any hindrances. So this, we have to always think that way. It may not be immediately possible at the age of 50. But the injunction is there. Panchashordham manam vrajet. So we have to work towards that. What else? Who is more intelligent? One who remains in brahmacharya life or entering into Gṛhastha life? No, neither. The one who is a devotee of Krishna is the most intelligent. No matter wherever you are, he is, what is that? Jai Krishna bhaje she bada chatur. So whoever worships Krishna, he is the intelligent man. So it doesn't matter wherever you are, but you have to take to devotional service. Artificial renunciation has to come as an effect of attachment to Krishna. If we just renounce, and if we don't have sufficient attraction for Krishna, then we will fall back to this attachment. We have to have sufficient attachment for Krishna to be able to renounce. So if this injunction is there that Panchashordham manam vrajet, at the age of 50 I must renounce, that means it indirectly also conveys that by the age of 50 I must become so serious enough that I am able to give up this family life. If I just give up, 50 has come, I will give up, then I leave. I will not be able to live because I have not enough attachment. To be attached is our natural position. We just have to shift the attachment to Krishna. But if the attachment is not strong enough there, it will again come back here. Or one will go into altruistic activities, philanthropic activities. These are all just extended sense gratification. Real service of the Lord is what one has to come to. So, any other questions or comments? What else? Of course, there are. So, this is a good realization by Bhaktin Svetalina. So, Brahmachari has 75% chance of going back to Godhead. Gṛhastha only has 24%. No, actually not 75%. If one is, truly Brahmachari, if one completely dedicated to Krishna, it's 100% chance. But Gṛhastha, 25% chance, Prabhupada said, because 3/4 of the life, 3/4 of time is wasted away in material attachments. So, for Gṛhastha is only 25% chance. So, she's saying that I am telling you from the point of view of a married woman, in Gṛhastha life we have to work so much to increase our chance to go back to Godhead. And of course, it is not an excuse. There is not a problem in Gṛhastha life. Only you have to do, fixed your mind on service, and everything what we achieve in family life, we have to do only to satisfy Krishna. So, that is correct. So, the main is attachment to Krishna. Maya sakta manah partha, Krishna said in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first, Maya sakta manah partha, become attached to me. Then renunciation, all this will come. But if the attachment is not there, then if you just renounce, just like when you are walking, the foot you put forward and then you take away your back foot, and then you, so that the front foot has to be on solid footing, and then you can remove. If you haven't put the front foot on solid ground and you lift this also, and then you will trip and fall. So the attachment must be firstly solid, and then we can remove the material attachment. So I think we will stop here since there are no more questions. I think some very nice comments, inputs by Vishwambar Prabhu. Merely renouncing all activities, not engaged in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy, but a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. See, very nice. Bhagavad Gita 5.6. Sannyāsastu mahabāho dukkhamāptum ayogata yoga-yukto munir brahma nachirenādi gacchati. So merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy, but a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Perfect. So this is in the 6th chapter, 1st verse also. Anasakta, what is that? Anashrita. What is that? Keep forgetting. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriya. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnirna chakriya. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as is obliged is in the renounced order of life and is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. This requires more explanation to make to be understood, but anyway, the 5-6 just now the Vishwambar Prabhu's verse is quite easy to understand. So that is that. Konvartha Krishnam Srijet. So from the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.10, money is so dear that one conceives of money as being sweeter than honey. Therefore, who can give up the desire to accumulate more money, especially in household life? Thieves, professional servants, soldiers and merchants try to acquire money even by risking their very dear lives. This is how they are involved in atyahara. So anyway, there are nice verses by all of them. So please go and read it at your own convenience. So we'll stop here. Jai Shri Rupa Goswami ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Upadeshamrita ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.